So again, my name is Francis Lozano. I'm a recruitment coordinator for Hartford Change and the Ministry of Education program. Corinne Ferrari is next to me, and Chris Pratt will join us in a few minutes. Today we'll be talking about a pre-departure webinar. We'll be covering some information regarding Hartford Change and regarding the program. And at the end of the session, we want all the questions you're going to have about the program, about how to get in here. And we're going to be answering all those questions. It's very important that those that could not attend have access to watch this video. So we will be uploading this at the end of the session to our YouTube channel. And we will be sharing the link with all of you so that you can have access to all the information we're going to be giving today. So let's start talking about what Hartford Change is. So Hartford Change is a non-for-profit organization. It's an NGO. It is called Hartford Change Colombia Volunteer Program. It's an NGO that provides support to organizations and social impact projects in Colombia through international volunteer programs. We started 5 years ago, bringing people to Colombia to help to structure some programs in here, some social programs. And from starting last year, we had the chance to start working with the Ministry of Education and the SENA, which is a national organization that provides education to poor people. And we started this program called English Teaching Fellowship Program. So this program is actually about to turn 1 year, and we hope it's going to be lasting for at least 2 or 3 years from now on. There are some kids that we have been helping, and this program, the English Fellowship Program, started on January, but before that we had a similar experience with SENA, which is a national organization that teach to poor people here and educates people for work, labor, or for labor. So this program is very important. This English Teaching Fellowship Program is very important since we have more than half the budget the National Ministry of Education has for education, for bilingualism. So this is one of the most important programs that the country has been running in the last 10 or 20 years. And that's something that you should be proud of. Like, you're going to be part of a really changing life program, and we're very happy to have you here. So we work with public institutions in Colombia, and you will be impacting around 80,000 people while you're here. So the impact is going to be massive, and as I said before, we're very happy that you're going to be part of this. So this is the team. This is part of the team. So Andrea Calderon at the left, she's the founder and CEO of Hartford Change. She's from Colombia. She created this organization with other 5 people 5 years ago. You can see also her email account in there. So if you need something that she needs to solve, so send her an email. Next to her is Nicolas de Bedut. He's the CFO of Hartford Change. He's in charge of all the day-to-day work at the office. Next to Nicolas, you're gonna find Christopher Pratt. He's the national director of the program. He's about to join us in a few seconds. He's in charge of all the questions regarding, or all the matters regarding the program. Liliana Socaraz, she's the logistics director. She, of course, is in charge of all the logistics. So she's in charge of the picking up information and also the accommodation, all those kind of things. We have Maria Alejandra Bernal. She's a program advisor. She works with us, but at the Ministry of Education. So she's always giving us advices on how to improve the program and those kind of things. Catalina Botero, next to Maria Alejandra. She's in charge of the legal advisory. Corinne Ferrari is a recruitment coordinator. She's next to me, and well, she's in charge of all the recruitment process plus other information. And at the end, that's me, Francis Leon Lozano. I'm from Colombia. I'm in charge of all this stuff regarding, well, developing profiles and those kind of things. So whatever question you have, please send it to me or send it to Corinne. We will try to answer all the questions you have about the program and about the visa process and all these matters that are very important right now. So you just take your laptop and send us an email and let us know how we can help you. It's very important that you remember that we have 8 webinars, actually 9 webinars on our YouTube channel, so that you can check them if you have any questions regarding visa, regarding Colombia, regarding logistics. You can check that, and also regarding the schools you're going to be teaching at. And it's also very important that all of you apply for your visa right now. So we have all the process. We already sent the process, the instructions or the directions for the process, but also we have the instructions on our video. We have on our YouTube channel. So just check it. It's very important that all of you apply for your visa right now. So these guys are part of the regional coordinators group. Right now we have 10 regional coordinators, but we will be having 16 or probably 18 regional coordinators. The new ones are not here, but you will get to know them next week when you arrive. So, well, Hannah and Juan, they're in charge of Antioquia, Medellin, but we will be having more people there to be in charge of all the people going to Antioquia, which is the state where Medellin is, but also Envigado, Sabaneta, and Itagüí, besides others, or among others. Evan is in charge of Santa Marta, Barranquilla, and he was also helping in Cartagena. Jesse Forrest is in charge of Cartagena and Barranquilla too, so they're sharing the region. Dan Puso, he works in Pereira, next to Dos Quebradas. So people going to Pereira and Dos Quebradas will be talking to Dan about all the stuff that you're gonna need there. Travis, he's in Manizales, which is the capital of Caldas. He's in charge of Caldas, Quindío, and Quindío, which are 2 of the 3 departments or states in the coffee region of Colombia. Ricardo Mejia, he's in Santander, and Norte de Santander, so he's in Bucaramanga. He will be in charge of Bucaramanga, Piedecuesta, Cúcuta, and other cities next to these 3 cities. Carrie Pitzer will be going to Medellin, so she will be in charge of Medellin and other cities near Medellin. Alicia Shaw is in Cali. She's in charge of Popayán, Pasto, and Cali, and she will be having some help from another recruitment coordinator that's gonna take his job very soon. Megan is in Tolima and Huila, so people going to Ibagué, Neiva, Girardot will be in contact with Megan. And well, yeah, that was the team. Those were the regional coordinators. So right now we will be talking about Arrival Logistics. Well, it's very important that you know that we're expecting all of you to come on June 21st, of course. We know that some of you will be coming prior, before, and some of you will be here, well, in a different date, in a different time. Okay, so Arrival Logistics, getting to Bogota. The arrival date is June 21st. Please plan to arrive on the first day of the program. Please note that no accommodation will be provided before June 21st. June 22nd to July 3rd, you're gonna have 2-week orientation in Zipaquirá, not Bogota, but Zipaquirá, which is a city nearby Bogota. July 6th to 10th, you will have a week of orientation at the placement site. So you will have to meet with the regional authorities. So we're talking about, well, probably the mayor and the principal from your school. All those people are going to be meeting with you. They will let you know, they will give you some information about the place where you're going to be living in, about the people, and of course about what they're expecting from you. Please arrive to El Dorado International Airport in Bogota. Here's the website, you can check. You must send the following information to Francis Lozano and Liliana Socarras. You can check the emails in here. So full name, please double check that your name is completely exactly as it appears on your passport. Airline name, only the airline that is traveling to Bogota. Flight number, only the flight that is arriving in Bogota. Arrival time in Bogota, of course. So we will be having a shuttle every 2.5 hours from El Dorado to the Hartford Exchange House or the hotel. So we will be picking all of you up during that day. Once you're in the airport, make sure that when you leave or you're exiting international arrivals, you will make a left to look at the OMA Cafe. At the OMA Cafe, you will be meeting our regional coordinators, and probably Corinne or I will be there too. So these are some pictures of the airport. So make sure that you're gonna follow the instructions we already gave you. This is the place. This OMA Cafe is the place where we will be meeting you. And well, that's it. So you're gonna find one of these guys or someone wearing something like this waiting for you at the airport. So they will be wearing these yellow T-shirts or the other T-shirts that you're seeing at your right. They will also have a sign that says Hartford Exchange. So you just follow them. They will make all the arrangements so that you can travel to the hotel or to the house in case you're coming to the house. So some training rules. I'm gonna ask Chris to explain this. So we'll be so that you can get to know all the instructions that we want to give you. And yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Chris Pratt and I'm the National Program Director for this program, the English Teaching Fellowship. I've been with Hartford Change for over 1 year now, and I'm really excited to have all you guys coming this Sunday. So remember, if anyone's arriving before this Sunday, you guys, it'll probably be easiest for you to meet at the airport and send an email to Franz and Liliana. And you guys can then meet at the airport, and then that way you can have a shuttle transportation to the hotel in Zipaquirá. Why is that important? That's really going to be important because it's about an hour outside of Bogota, and it might be a little bit easier that way as opposed to trying to find public transportation. You might have to change a couple times, or if you paid for a taxi, it would be quite expensive. So I think it would be best if you're arriving before that Sunday, meeting in the airport. Okay. I also saw some notes popping up, I guess some questions from a couple of you guys, where you wanted to know whether we received your flight information. If you're not sure if we have your flight information, you should email that to Franz and Liliana directly. The email is in this slide, so you guys saw that in the slide previously. That way you can 100% confirm. The Transmilenio does not go to Zipaquirá. It'll go to the end, a place called Portal Norte, and then from there you can take a bus. That's definitely a possibility. So you're welcome to do that. I think Liliana is going to send out more information exactly how to do that. Okay, well, let's get started with the training rules. It's very important that you guys all understand that training is put in place so you guys can become the best teachers, the best teaching fellows that we can possibly have. We want to train you in pedagogy so you can learn how to become really good teachers. We want to train you about cultural differences that you might find. We want to train you in security so you understand exactly what to do in any type of dangerous or situation that pops up. They're very far and few, but we want to make sure that you're prepared if it were to happen. Training is going to be pretty intense. We're going to have full days. We're not going to have a lot of breaks, but we're going to try to make it as fun as possible. We're going to mix it up with some large group presentations and then also breaking into small groups so you can get to know your regional coordinators, so you can get to know the people in your cities, so you can get to know people that are close to your cities. And we're going to be mixing it up so you have the opportunity to know all the other English teaching fellows. That way you can travel all across the country. But it's important that everyone acts as a professional during training. Everyone shows up on time. Punctuality is non-negotiable. It's very important that everyone shows up on time. Everyone assists all of the training activities. There will be optional weekend activities, and there's going to be more night activities where once we finish with the day, we might have an opportunity for you to practice your salsa, watch a movie in Spanish, different types of Colombian cultural activities. And then also there's going to be a restaurant that'll be open in the nighttime, a little bit far off from the hotel. That way we want everyone to respect the rules of the hotel and to stay in the hotel. At night after 10 p.m. it should be quiet, but there will be a place where you can hang out, get to know some of the other fellows, a little bit away from the hotel and a cafeteria. So let's see, respectful and appropriate behavior with training facilities is expected and mandatory. It's going to be important that you guys clean up after yourselves. You put your cigarette butts, if you're a smoker, in the designated areas, in the ashtrays, not throwing them all over, never putting them out. If anyone breaks anything, they're going to be responsible for paying for it. If you break something and you don't own up to it, but someone notices that you broke it, we will deduct it from your stipend. So it's really important that everyone respects the hotel and respects everything that's going on around there. The use of alcohol or drugs is not allowed during training, moreover not permitted. So you're not allowed to buy your own alcohol. We're not going to allow anyone to be drinking hard liquor. However, in the cafeteria, they will be selling beer and potentially wine. So you will be able to kick back a couple beers at the night, but you can only buy it at the cafeteria. If you bring your own beer, if you bring your own alcohol, it will be confiscated. It will be confiscated by our team, or it will be confiscated by the hotel. So it's really important that you guys understand that, because what ends up happening is if we want to open up the cafeteria, it has to make sense. They're going to have to pay employees to stay really late, until maybe midnight. And in order to do that, you're going to have to buy the alcohol there. So that's why we're going to impose that rule. And the hard alcohol is because, like I mentioned, this is going to be a very serious training. We're going to need everyone on top of their A game, ready to work in the mornings. So we don't want anyone drinking excessively. I know you guys are going to be really excited to get to know all of your fellow co-teachers, get to know all the new people from all these different countries all over the world. It's going to be a lot of really interesting, educated, fun new fellows to meet. But we just want to make sure everyone is going to be responsible as well. So be aware that there's a chance that there will be connectivity issues with the internet. There's probably not going to be much internet at all in the hotel. We're still looking at how we can solve that solution, but basically the system does not allow for more than 50 people to be on the internet at any given time. So we're probably not going to be offering passwords to the internet to everyone, because then everyone's going to plug in their computers, everyone's going to plug in their iPhones, their cell phones, their iPods, whatever there is, and then it'll just never work. So we might try to have a couple designated computers where people can access internet, but we're not going to be offering Wi-Fi passwords to all of the fellows. So be prepared. to have very, very scarce internet connectivity. Where we're going to be, it's going to be pretty nice during the day, but at night it's going to get really cold. Think that we're going to be very high up in the mountains. We're going to be much higher than Denver in the United States, but since we're on the, since we're here in South America in a tropical region, it's a little bit nicer during the day, but it's going to get really cold at night. So make sure you bring jackets, make sure you bring pants, make sure you bring warm clothes for training. That's going to be really important. We're also going to have a day where we're going to have a press conference with the Ministry of Education in the city of Bogota. We're going to take everyone into the city. Right now that's scheduled for July 2nd. So we'd like everyone to have business casual clothing. So just nice business casual clothing. If you have any questions, we should have that on the on the Facebook page, so you can get an idea of what business casual means. Okay, academic expectations. Be active and attentive to the academic work proposed in the training. It is a priority that all fellows are not only helpful, but are participatory and attentive during each activity that takes place. We found that there's going to be a huge difference between many of the English teachers that are coming this Sunday. We're going to have some people that have 20 years of teaching experience, or we're going to have some people who have never taught before. We're going to have certain people that have really intense CELTA certifications, TOEFL certifications, and others that have not. What we're going to try to do on that day, Monday, on Monday we're going to try to have our partner, which is Unica University, kind of distinguish who has what type of teaching experience and break it into 2 different groups. That way, maybe 2 or 3 different groups, so you guys can learn. If you're a more experienced teacher, you can be in a group with more experienced teachers and learn accordingly.
So you're not going.
Guys, make sure you mute your microphones, please. Okay. So it's going to be important that you guys understand that this pedagogical training is going to be based in the Colombian culture. So a lot of you might think, well, I have so much experience teaching, I don't need this. But it's going to be helpful because they're going to base it teaching as a co-teacher, which might be different for you, but also teaching as a co-teacher in a Colombian public school atmosphere. So we just want to make sure everyone's really respectful of your training teachers. Next point, comply with the delivery and approach of each proposed academic activity and assignment. Meet the community keys under the fellowship agreement of all academic activities proposed during training. You will be provided with curriculum and valuable activities during training. Please use these effectively. Okay.
Okay, so we're about to finish, but before that, I want Chris to please give us a little explanation about the program, just a little taste of how it is. And after this, we're going to start with some questions, so make sure that you're going to write all your questions down on the chat space that we have. Chris is going to let us know a little bit about the program. Yeah, please continue, Chris.
Great. All right, so I guess I'll get started with Heart for Change. Heart for Change was created 5 years ago. And it was created in order to bring volunteers from all over the world to volunteer here in Colombia and then become ambassadors for their countries, but also ambassadors for Colombia. Everyone knows that 20 years ago, there were lots of problems here in Colombia, but over the last 10, 12 years, Colombia has really become a safe country. But there still is a stigma. There still are a lot of people across the world that think Colombia is a very dangerous place. However, it's not. In this moment, it's a really safe place. When I think of Colombia, I've lived in Colombia for over 3 years. I think of the Colombian people who are amazing. They just love to give a helping hand. They're so friendly. They'll invite you to their house, to dinner, to meet their grandparents. And you guys will get to know that culture really, really soon. But the idea of Heart for Change was to bring qualified professional volunteers to work in social programs here in the country, to give back to the country, but then also to return to their countries and be ambassadors for Colombia and be able to speak about what the real Colombia is. Over the years, we've been working in several different types of volunteer programs. About 1.5 years ago, we started working with SENA. SENA is the vocational public university here in Colombia, where we brought over 60 volunteers to teach, and it was a very exciting, it was a very successful program. We learned a lot, and every single time we listen to what our fellows, what our teachers recommend, what the volunteers recommend, and we try to make the program the best that we can. We started in January with a historic program with the Ministry of Education, which is the program you're going to be now, participating as English teaching fellows. When we started working with them, it was the first time in the history of Colombia where there was a program this large where we had teachers teaching in public schools. Before that, in the entire history of Colombia, there had only been about 5 or 6 funded through the Ministry of Education, 5 or 6 native speaking teachers from all over the world. So it really is a huge historic program. However, working in the public sector, working with the Ministry of Education, working with public schools and different secretaries of educations across 33 different cities, obviously can be challenging. We had a couple hiccups in January, but honestly everything went very, very smoothly. But I want to warn you that while we've really learned a lot and we have been preparing, sometimes it might take a while to get your class schedule situated. You might have to wait a week before you start teaching. In some cases, school won't even start until July 10th, even though you're going to be ready to start on July 6th. We will have activities planned to help you get situated, to learn about your cities, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that brings us to the English Teaching Fellowship. The idea of the program, as you know, is to support the Colombian public school teachers and to support the Colombian public school students. You will be impacting more than 120,000 students here in Colombia. With your support, we're going to be reaching children from relatively poor backgrounds, low-income families, who would never have the opportunity to have a teacher that has the communicative English that you guys possess. You'll look at English teachers across Colombia. On average, they have extremely low levels of English. However, I have found by visiting all these cities that there are some really amazing Colombian teachers. But pretty much the majority need to improve their communicative skills. They might know grammar better than I know grammar, and I'm from the United States and from Baltimore. But I studied finance, But anyway, they have great grammar, but they might not be able to communicate or speak. They might be teaching their classes in Spanish. That's why you're here. You're here to break that cycle, to help improve not only the students, but the teachers. This program is set for the next 4 years. So it's basically a 5-year program. And if we can be successful, we can improve the communicative skills of the Colombian teachers, who will then stay in the Colombian system teaching these students over the next 30 years. That's really the long-term goal of the program, and we're so excited to have you guys a part of it. But remember, we are working with One Foundation Heart for Change. We're working with the National Ministry of Education, and then from there we're working with 33 different secretaries of education, and we're working with over 160 public schools in the entire country. So obviously every single Secretary of Education is going to have a little bit of a different schedule. Some schools might have different schedules. So one fellow teaching in the same city might have a slightly different schedule than you. So be flexible, be excited to learn about each of the different nuances of your school, and you're constantly going to have support from your regional coordinators and from myself, and of course from the recruitment team and from the Ministry of Education. So we're really, really excited. I think that's a quick, brief introduction of the program. What else?
We're going to start with the questions.
Okay.
So after this.
What else might I want to say? Now, I think the rest we'll talk about during training. I think the logistics went pretty well, though. So,
The visa things.
oh yeah, visa. Guys, I just want everyone to know that it's going to be really important that you guys apply for your visas. Apply for your visas. If you haven't yet, apply today. We really need everyone to apply for their visas today because we need all visas approved before Monday. They're not going to be working during the weekend. So if you apply for your visas today, if every single person does, anyone that does not have their visa, I will send an email directly to the headquarters at La Conselleria, and they'll go ahead and try to get them approved. Then we'll have all day Monday kind of as a buffer to make sure they get approved. How long does it take to get approved? They say 24 hours. Sometimes it takes a while, but if I put pressure on them, we can get it done quicker. The important thing is that everyone applies. Everyone applies at least by today. I don't want anyone not applying today. So make sure you get those applications in. From there, I can help you. I can help push the Cancelleria. From there, once we get the PDFs, I will collect, well, we'll all collect all your passports between Sunday and Monday. And then on Monday and Tuesday, I'll be taking them all, okay, to the Cancelleria to make sure that you can get your visas.
Okay, do not forget that we already sent you some instructions on how to apply for your visa, and also that we have a webinar. We have actually 2 webinars regarding visa process on our YouTube channel. So make sure that you're gonna go there and you're gonna check all the process and all the questions you're gonna have. You're gonna send it to us so that we can help you out. Just to remind you, the visa type is a TP1, and well, yeah, that's it. So from now on, we're going to start receiving all the questions. You're going to be typing. We'll be so happy to answer all the questions. So make sure that you're gonna start typing your questions right now.
Chat. Surf Festival. Well, you guys did a lot of chatting in here, so we're trying to trying to get through it all. Surf Festival. Do you want to read the questions and answer? What? Do you want to read the questions and I answer?
Yep.
Sure.
So we have some questions here. So Sully says, what happens if you make a mistake in your application, but it says it went through?
What you can do is once you receive an email from La Cancelleria, it's going to have an application number. You can go back and reapply as if you're starting from scratch, put in your name, your information, and just the application number. Once you hit OK, it'll bring up your application, and then you can make the appropriate changes.
Okay. Carlin says, do we travel to placement sites as a group?
Okay. Yeah. Once you guys get here, we're going to explain all that in a lot more detail. But basically what's going to happen is that Saturday, the second Saturday, we're going to fly in groups to your cities. You're either going to fly with your regional coordinator, or there will be a regional coordinator waiting at the airport for you, and they'll help you get to your accommodations.
Okay, Melanie says, in order to enter the country, do we need to have a return flight booked?
That's going to depend on the airline. That's going to depend on the country. Sometimes, but I would recommend not. You probably do not need it. You should bring your letter that you're going to be a teacher. You should bring a copy of your printed out visa and that letter that was printed out by the Ministry of Education that you had to upload. So you should not need it. In some cases, you do. What I have done in the past is I would buy a plane ticket and then immediately cancel the plane ticket once I got into Colombia. And that worked well for me. But try to talk your way out of it. Try to use the letter from the Ministry of Education and the visa, because legally you should not need it, but some airlines can be difficult.
Okay. Louis says, for the 1 month accommodation in our placement cities, is it in hostels? If so, is it shared room, type rooms, and it will be shared with our own fellows or with randoms?
Yeah, so that was I think, very clear in your fellowship agreement. You guys should make sure to read page for page your fellowship agreement. That's going to give you a lot of information. The first month of accommodation will be in shared rooms. It could be in a hostel type situation. It could be in an apartment type situation. It really depends on the differences of the cities. We have the same budget for every single fellow, and we use the full budget for every single fellow. The issue is every single city is going to be a lot different. Some cities, you would think Medellin might be more expensive or more difficult, but they're used to having, people come for short periods of time and renting for short periods of time. Sometimes in the small towns, it's almost impossible to find a 1-month accommodation. We do our best to find the best accommodation that we can for that budget, but it will vary from city to city. It will vary from town to town, but we will be utilizing the same amount of money for each of you, and we're going to do the best we can to get you the best accommodation. But it will be shared rooms, and I think it could be up to 4 or 6 in one room. Okay.
Okay, so Rachel says, we're recommended to bring our immunization records. Do we really need all that paperwork or just the yellow fever to travel?
Well, you definitely need the yellow fever. It wouldn't hurt to bring copies, just in case. I think yellow fever is really the important one, but it wouldn't hurt to bring copies. And hopefully it's not a lot of paperwork, or you can just put it on one page, one piece of paper. Well, you guys aren't going to be traveling to the placement sites. We're going to be taking you to the airport, and we're going to buy the flights for you. You guys are going to fly on the plane, and there's going to be either someone traveling with you, or there will be someone there waiting for you. And then from there, they can help you get to your 1-month accommodation, or tell you and give you an idea of where you're supposed to get if you have your own place set up.
Okay, Louis asked, do we have to apply for Colombian ID cards and a bank accounts by ourselves?
No, we're going to take you next Tuesday and Wednesday to get your Colombian IDs and to set up your bank accounts. On Monday, we're going to be signing and filling out all the paperwork. If anyone applied for their visa a while ago and has been in Colombia, you might want to check, because you have 15 days after getting approved, you have to have your Colombian ID card. So if you've been in Colombia and have successfully had your visa for 15 days, you better go get it yourself. Other than that, if you have successfully got it but have not yet arrived to Colombia, that's okay. Those 15 days start once you land in Colombia. But no, we have that all planned. We're going to take you from the hotel. We're going to take you right to the office where you need to. We're going to take you right to the bank. We're going to help you sign out all the paperwork. We're going to help you get everything together.
Okay, Sarah asked, we will be working with, will we be working with another fellow at this school?
We try to have 2 fellows in each school, but it doesn't always happen that way. It depends on the demand in the school. The Colombian Ministry of Education has decided they want to focus on students in 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade. It depends on how many English groups there are. Some schools only need 1 fellow. Other schools need 5 fellows. So it's really going to depend on the need of your school. However, you will at least be with another fellow in every single city or town.
Okay, Natasha asked, when we know our exact school placements?
Well, Natasha, we know right now, but we're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you because it's going to change. It's going to change probably 1 or 2 more times. And we're going to tell you in your 2nd week of training, because I would hate to tell you that this is your school and then it changes. And then you guys get your heart set on one school. So we're going to tell you once I'm pretty confident there won't be any more changes.
Okay, Zuli asked, what's the letter in Spanish needed to apply for the visa as a support document, as I have not received it yet?
That is necessary. If you do not have the letter, it will not work. Zoli, who are you working with? Did you guys send it to every single
Yeah,
directly?
This is
No?
ELC, I think so.
But did you send it
I'm
directly?
pretty sure I've already sent it to her. If she not asked her, sent one of us an email, send it to her again.
Okay. Send us an email and let us know that you have not received it, and we'll send it to you again. We should have already sent it. Basically, it's the job of your recruitment partner to send you these documents. I know that sometimes the recruitment partners did not send those documents, so we tried to send it directly to every single one. And if for some reason you fell through the cracks, please send an email to Franz or Corinne directly right now, and they will respond with that letter.
Janelle asked, what if you bought a return ticket for the program and date for November the 30th? Sorry. Will there be any issues?
There should not be any issues. If you have successfully received your PDF for your visa, there should not be any issues. If they think that you're going to be a tourist only traveling for 30 days, they might ask you to have a return ticket within those 30 days. That's why it's going to be important for you to come to the airport with the letter and hopefully come to the airport with that PDF from your visa PDF.
Nicole says, I didn't have my immunization records. Is that necessary?
Well, where are you traveling from? If you're traveling from the United States, they probably won't demand it. If you've been traveling through certain African or South American or Asian countries where there is yellow fever, they might ask you to show proof that you have a vaccination for yellow fever. I think it's best to be vaccinated for yellow fever, to be vaccinated according to what we've mentioned, and you should try to have records. Depending on where you're traveling from, it might not be 100% necessary.
Okay, Fabian asks, could you tell us the directions of the hotel in Zipaquirá for those arriving on the 22nd?
I'm sending out that email after.
Yeah. Corinne's going to be sending out that email to you guys with the directions later today. It's important that if you guys do not arrive early on the 22nd, you will be responsible for bringing your blood type. You will be responsible for bringing a photo. Corinne, can you send the photo dimensions?
I didn't know that everybody bring photos.
Yeah, because we're going to take photos on Sunday and we're going to take photos on Monday. So that's going to be basically Monday morning and in the afternoon on Sunday. We're also going to be taking your blood because in order to get the Colombian ID, you need to show proof through a Colombian company what your blood type is.
Nate asks, if you arrive before the 21st, are you supposed to meet at the airport on the 21st to get picked up?
Yes, you are. I think that that's the best way to do it. I would send an email to Franz and Liliana and let them know what time you plan on being at the airport. Every 2.5 hours, there will be a shuttle. So that way you'll be able to sit in the airport, get to know a couple of the fellows, and then take transportation with them directly to the hotel. That'll be the easiest way to get there.
Amoy, we cannot understand your question, so maybe you would like to rephrase it. Lauren says, what exactly do we need paper copies of when we arrive?
It's always good to have paper copies, photocopies of your passport, maybe 1 or 2. It'll be good. You should bring an original copy of your fellowship agreement that is signed, that has the signatures from your doctors, the original. You should bring that. We'll make a copy. You can keep the copy, but we should have the originals. Photocopies. You should also have printed out the letter from the Ministry of Education that you use to apply for your visa. And if you have your PDF visa, you should print that out and bring that as well.
Okay. Andy asked, do you need to get the yellow fever shot?
I think it's best practice to have the yellow fever shot. I don't think that Colombia has yellow fever, but if you are to travel to any of the countries around here, if you travel through a certain country, they might not let you into Colombia without having a yellow fever. It's really going to depend where you're coming from. I'm pretty sure that you guys all received recommendations from your recruitment partners or from our recruitment team recommending that you have that. So, I mean, now it might be too late, and you could also get your yellow fever shot here in Colombia if need be. But it just depends if you're traveling through countries that have yellow fever. If you're coming from the United States, you shouldn't have a problem.
Okay, Lydia asked, if I want to leave the hostel in my placements area in case of finding good place to rent, am I allowed to do it?
Well, there's not a lot of people. If you haven't opted out of the housing by now, you probably cannot do it. That said, you are welcome to leave the housing anytime you want. You just will not receive extra money because we're paying, and we've already paid for 1 month housing for all the people who told us they wanted or didn't tell us that they wanted the housing. Only the people that specifically asked not to have housing are the people that are going to receive that extra 500,000 pesos. So yes, you're welcome to leave whenever you want, but you're not going to receive any extra money.
Okay, Aaron asked, what documents are required to apply for a visa renewal for someone already in Colombia?
Well, Aaron, it depends. If you are just traveling through Colombia and have a 3-month tourist visa stamp in your passport, nothing. I think you're supposed to photocopy that entrance stamp with your application. You're gonna have to check the instructions that we had given you. However, if you have a TP6, any previous TP4 work visas, any previous volunteer visas, you will have to get a letter from that company where you worked, where you volunteered, whatever you were doing to have an official visa. That's not just a tourist visa traveling for 3 months. You would have to get an official letter from them saying that you stopped working with them before, we'll say, June 16th or June 15th. And then you'd have to upload that letter with your application or they will not give you the visa.
Lisa says, just applied for my visa today. How long before I receive the email?
I'm going to put some pressure on the Cancilleria to get you your visa ASAP, but you should have gotten a confirmation email pretty much immediately or in the first 5 minutes. If not, you probably did something wrong by accident and you should try to apply again.
Okay. Shafali asked, which documents do we need for Zipaquirá?
As I mentioned, you should bring a copy of your original copy of your fellowship agreement with the doctor's signatures. You should bring a couple photocopies of your passport. Any medical records might be helpful, but that's pretty much it. If you guys have some teaching materials, that could be helpful. It's not necessary to bring, but it could be helpful for your teaching.
Jacob asks, how do I answer the question on the visa application that asks, have you ever stayed in Colombia without a visa? I've been to Colombia before as a tourist, but never overstayed, which is what the question seems to be hinting at.
You would say no to that. Have you ever stayed in Colombia without a visa? You had a tourist visa, so you were in Colombia with a visa. Just answer no. They're referring to someone who somehow crossed through the line without going and getting a stamp in their visa. So that should not apply to you. You would have to have illegally entered the country.
Okay, Andy asked, I know some countries needs you to have the yellow fever vaccine before you can enter. Is this the case of Colombia?
It depends where you're coming from. If you're coming from England, Australia, the United States, if you're coming from a country that does not have yellow fever, you should be okay. If you're going and flying through a country that does have yellow fever, you might need to have your yellow fever vaccination.
Ollie asks, I'm living in Chapinero, which is Colombia, and I intend to commute to Zipaquirá for the training each day. What time do I need to arrive?
You're going to have to stay in Zipaquirá. You're not going to be able to travel every single day. you would basically have to be there at 7 a.m. and we're going to be there all night. We're also going to be traveling for a couple of days to BJ de Leyva. We're also going to be traveling to the presidential event. The press conference with the Ministry of Education. Basically, as was discussed through your recruitment partners and our team, you have to stay on site the whole entire training. So you're not going to be able to stay in your apartment.
Rachel says, for the Colombian ID, do we need to bring passport photos, or will they just print what they already have electronically?
Please mute your thing, your microphone. Okay. Rachel, yeah, don't worry about that at all. We're going to take care of that during the first couple of days. We're going to make the necessary photocopies. So we're going to take care of that.
Cordell asks, can I take the yellow fever shot when I get to Colombia?
Yes, you can, but if you're traveling through a country that has yellow fever, you might not be able to come into the country. No more yellow fever.
Okay. Kendall asks, how many fellows are participating in the program?
We currently have 150 fellows in the program, 30 of which are only here until the end of this month. And then we're going to have an additional 201 new fellows. So we're going to have 330 English teaching fellows in the program across the entire country.
Okay, Sarah asks, who's the regional coordinator of Zipaquirá?
That's going to be Alex Thiessen. His contact information should be in the pre-departure handbook. Thank you.
Okay. Louis asks, just wondering how many of us are in this training group for 2 weeks.
There will be 198 new English teachers in the training. The other 12 to make up the full 201, they had already been teaching. They had 6-month contracts, so they already did training back in January, so we're not going to ask them to do it again. I have a question for the person who's living in Champañero. I imagine you're in the soldier program. If you're not in the soldier program and you're in one of the surrounding areas, it's important that you know you're supposed to be living in your placement city. You're not going to be able to live in Bogota and commute every single day to school. That's not going to be permitted, so hopefully you're in the soldier program.
Tara asks, do I need my visa to travel to Colombia?
If you're from the United States or Australia or a couple, you can check online. There's probably 40 countries. You're not going to have any problems, but it is better. Do your best to get that visa before you travel, but you'll be fine.
Krishna asks, will I need to get the shot if I'm traveling from Panama?
I don't think so. I have my shot, but I've traveled from Panama twice to Colombia and I haven't needed it, so I don't think so. You could also send an email to Corinne or Franz and they could call the Colombian Cancilleria to get an answer, or Migración.
Natasha says, I know that the shuttle will be at the airport every 2.5 hours, but is there a schedule for the shuttle? I'm arriving really early Sunday morning, and I want to know how long I will wait.
Well, Corinne's going to send that schedule to you later today. The only problem is it's subject to change. If a bunch of fellows do not tell us that they're coming, and a bunch of fellows arrive, we might send a shovel out early, and that might change the schedule slightly, but it should stick pretty much.
Sarah asks, who can we contact if we have questions about the housing hostel?
We're going to talk about the specific housing for the first month during training. Right now, we're not going to give any information about it. You just will know the general information. We'll probably give that information in the beginning of the second week of training, but right now we're not disclosing that information.
Amoy says, in the pre-departure handbook, it states we need 2 forms of ID. If I only have one, would that pose a problem?
I don't think it's going to cause a problem. Every time that I've traveled from, to Colombia from wherever I was, I got through with my passport. It's better to have a driver's license or a second ID if you have one, but if you don't, I think you'll be okay.
Okay, Diana says, is there a recommendation as to where we should exchange currency in our home countries versus Colombia?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I think that it might be easier to do it in your home country, and then that way you can come with the Colombian currency and you'll need it, as opposed to finding a place to do it. It might be tough to exchange money once we get to the hotel in Zipaquirá. So if not, I would exchange the money in the airport. The other thing is if you go to an ATM with your bank card in many of the countries, a debit card for many of the other countries, you can put that in and take out Colombian currency.
Okay, Amanda asks, is there a possibility that we can keep being part of the program after the 5 to 6 month period?
Yes, Amanda, we're hoping that you'll stay for 4 more years. So as long as you do a good job as an English teaching fellow, we're going to give you priority to stay in your school or pick another school in any other city. So we'll be sending out emails probably midway through the semester, and we're going to definitely give you priority for the placement.
Amoy asks, we will be able to purchase mobile data plans for our cell phones?
You will be able to, yes.
Lauren?
That's a good question.
Okay. Lauren asks, we will be able to buy a phone in Colombia and how much it might cost?
Well, Colombia has every single phone you could possibly imagine. So if you want an iPhone 6, it's going to cost you a lot more money here in Colombia than it would in your home country, most likely. However, you can buy a really cheap phone that just does phone calls for $20. Guys, can you please mute your microphones? The other thing is, it would definitely make sense if you have smartphones to bring your smartphones with you. If you bring your smartphones with you, you can usually put a Colombian SIM card in there and have it work, but a smartphone here in Colombia is pretty expensive to buy. In some cases, you have to jailbreak your smartphones, so that might be very difficult. But if you can bring a phone that's able to work internationally, I would talk to whoever you bought your phone from. So if you bought your phone from Sprint or AT&T, ask them to make it so it works internationally. Otherwise, it might not work.
Okay. Louis asks, are credit cards widely accepted in Colombia, including American Express?
It depends where you are. It depends on what city. American Express is going to be a little bit more difficult. Debit cards are the best. You're going to have your own debit card through Banco de Bogota, which is where the money from your stipends will go. So that card will work everywhere. But no, most credit cards will work across Colombia. American Express should work in most places. But, grocery stores, nice restaurants. But if you're in a small restaurant that has a lunch for $2 or $3, you're not going to be able to use credit cards there.
Louis, we also recommend you that you watch all the webinars we already upload into our YouTube channel, because we have all this information in there.
The other thing that's important is to call your credit card companies and let them know in advance, and call your banks if you have a bank card and let them know you will be in Colombia and what dates will be in Colombia. Otherwise, they might lock your card once you use it here.
Jess asks, are there any classroom supplies or materials that we should bring?
it doesn't hurt. It's always good to bring a couple more supplies. Each school should provide you with a board, with a marker to write on the board, and there should be books in every single school. Sometimes there's delays on those books arriving, but you should have some books to help you teach. But if you have anything or any school supplies that you like or would want to share with the students, that would be great for you to bring.
Okay, Amoy says, when would the next school term start after November?
Probably mid-January or late January.
Okay, guys, we want to know if you have more questions, and if you do not, thank you very much for attending. It has been a pleasure solving all your questions and letting you know more about the program. So let us know if you have any questions. Christy asked, what's the last day of the program?
Again, I would recommend that everyone reads completely their fellowship agreement. The last day of the program is clearly in your fellowship agreement. It should be November 26th.
Jacob asked, will there be a TV at the hotel to watch the Colombia-Peru game on Sunday?
Yes, there will.
Okay, Krishna says, so tomorrow I will arrive in Barranquilla first. Will they know that I'm coming?
Well, I hope that you purchased a plane ticket from Barranquilla to Bogota because you need to arrive to Bogota tomorrow. And once you know your flight from Barranquilla to Bogota, you should email that flight information, as we talked about in the presentation, to Franz and Liliana. That way we will know that you're coming. If you have not sent that email, we have no idea.
Okay, Sarah says, I opt out the first month housing, but now you say we cannot commute from Bogota. How can I opt back in?
Just give an email to Liliana and Corinne and let them know that you would like to opt into housing, and we'll do the best we can to get that. It's important that everyone, every single city, or every single town where you work, you live in that town. Because, especially commuting from Bogota, it could take you 45 minutes or it could take you 3 hours to get to that school. You have to be able to work at 7 a.m. in most of the schools. If you start class at 7 a.m. and it could take you 3 hours to get to that school, that would mean that you would have to leave every single morning at 4 a.m. to make sure that you're getting to school. That is why we're not going to permit you to live in Bogota if you are teaching in any other school. So that's going to be really important. But yeah, feel free to email Liliana and Corinne and let them know.
Okay, Andy asked, do we have time to explore the city of Bogota? Are we close to the proximity from our training site?
No, you will not have time to explore Bogota. We are just going to be in training in Zipaquirá and Villa de Leyva. Villa de Leyva is going to be an amazing experience. It is a small colonial Spanish type town that was created 600 years ago. It has the largest cobblestone plaza in all of Colombia. Amazing architecture, amazing restaurants. I would definitely recommend that you guys opt out of eating in the hotel and go to a nice restaurant that night, because it's going to be really, really nice. However, you guys will have plenty of time to explore Bogota afterwards, during maybe a festival weekend where you could fly to Bogota and get to know the city. Bogota it's just going to be too difficult with so many people, so we're going to have the training outside of Bogota.
Okay, Lydia says, if come early in the morning, actually at night between the 20th and the 21st of June, where can I wait? Because I guess it is very early, but it is already the 21st.
Again, Cordine's going to send the schedule to you guys, but we're going to have at 1 a.m. on the 21st, people are going to be arriving. We're going to have our team in the airport from probably midnight or 1 a.m. So you can meet up with them, and we'll have shuttles right away starting in the early morning on the 21st.
Louis asked, do you guys have any recommendation for any Spanish schools in our placement cities for us to take Spanish lessons on our own?
That's why we're going to have the regional coordinator support. There's going to be packets that are given to each of you guys when you arrive with a couple recommendations for all different stuff. We have cultural databases where we have where to take salsa classes, where to take Spanish, where to get involved in schools. There's conversation clubs that happen in a lot of the cities every single week where you can practice English and then you practice Spanish, but you can help Colombians practice their English and so forth. So there's going to be a lot of things, but really count on your regional coordinator for those types of questions.
Okay, Krishna asked if the people at the airport are going to know if he's part of the program, if he's participating of the program.
No, they're going to have no idea. That's why you need to have the letter. That's why you need to have the visa printed out.
Okay, Janelle asked, what happens, worst case scenario, if your flight is delayed and you arrive in Bogota later than expected?
You're going to have the address and you're going to have to find a way to get to the training site.
Okay, guys, we would like to know if you have more questions. Brett asked if he's going to be able to watch this webinar later. Yes, so we will be uploading this today. Probably in 2 or 3 hours, we will be uploading it, and we will share the link with you all so that you can check it again. Okay, Brett, we believe that we're going to be uploading this in 2 hours or 3 hours. So don't worry, you're going to have the chance to watch it. Do you guys have more questions? Okay, guys, so thank you very much for attending to this. It has been a pleasure talking to you. We expect all of you to come on June 21st. If someone is coming before or after that time, we should know that. So send us an email, let us know. Also remember that we are expecting all of you to apply for your visas and to have your visas before you're coming. If you have any questions regarding the visa process, you can check our webinars. And also you can send us an email in case there's something that you cannot solve just watching the webinars. Well, yeah, thank you again. Have a good day, and we hope to see you here very soon.